Greetings YouTube, it's the Brain Damage Gamer here. I would like to welcome everyone to Playerunknown Battlegrounds. This is going to be an instructional video for all you new players. If you are a current player and you think you got a pretty good grasp on the game, I may have some tips or tricks that you may not have heard of and maybe dispel a couple of the rumors that are out there about this game as well. Your goal is to earn gear. That's how you get all these wonderful different bits and pieces of clothing. You can go ahead and unlock crates. You get that in the rewards section. And as you can see, I'm a little bit shy. I don't have enough in order to get one. Now, in order to get these battle points, you get those through damaging other players, killing other players, and more importantly, winning the game, also known as getting a chicken dinner, because it says wear a chicken dinner if you win. When you go ahead and get ready to play the game, you do have some different options here. As you can see, I am currently in North American servers. You can do other servers based upon your area, obviously. And then you can play as a solo player, you can play as a duo, you and another person, or you can play as a squad. Something to note with the squad, if you click on squad, this auto matchmaking will dump you in squad with another player until they get the required amount. They'll keep adding players to your squad, up to 4. So I could go ahead and hit play now, and I get put into a squad with 3 random people. As of time of filming, that is highly recommended against. You want this gone. Even if you only have 3 people in your squad, and you are missing the 4th, a lot of times you're better off not doing that. There are dedicated groups of people that like to play this game that only kill their squad mates. They hit the ground, get gear, and then immediately kill their squad mates. Don't know why. Apparently they think it's funny, but because of them, a lot of people don't even check this box anymore. For now, we'll go ahead and look at solo. There are custom match options. There is a custom match option down here below. Most people aren't going to mess with this unless you're specifically going to go join somebody's match that they've pre-built, just because you don't really know what you're getting yourself into unless you're following some sort of group on social media or doing something that involves a special group like Node recently did a zombie match that I was part of. If you watch, you can see my name go on screen for a couple of times as they shoot and kill me. Yay. I'm also the person that was hiding behind a tree and getting ready to chase them. So fun time. Alright, so welcome to the lobby. In the lobby, I recommend you mute. Control-T. It'll mute all the people saying random things. The lobby is nothing important. Anything that people do in here does not carry over to the main game other than potentially forming alliances, things like that. If you're playing solo, do not try to form an alliance with another player. That is technically cheating and can get you in trouble if somebody catches on and actually can prove it. Oh, somebody's shooting at me. Alright, now we are currently in the plane. We're going to be looking for an area that we can drop into, get gear, and then engage other players. So as you can see, here's my little marker. This is where I'm coming from. I want to start looking for places I can go to. If you're really careful, you might be able to make it up to a full 2 squares if you get out and immediately pull your parachute. Otherwise, you probably want to go a little bit closer. I'm going to try to head right around here, maybe around Gatka. So I have jumped out. Alright, so the first thing I do is I look straight up, and then I hold shift and push W. So that'll get me the fastest speed I can get. Now, I can go ahead and look around a little bit. I'm trying to see if I can find any. Oh, there's some people over there. I see little people dropping in the distance, the little black dots. Doesn't really look like much else, though, at the moment. So as of right now, we're still heading towards my current marker. I'm going to go ahead and pull my chute a little bit early. Oh, somebody else had the same idea. Oh, a couple of somebody's had the same idea. Well, we're going to go ahead and change directions. Just because I'm not going to fight them over that little bit of loot right there. I'm going to go to a different house. Which is really what you want to do. You don't want to get into this little fighting over a minute amount of resources with other people. Unless that's your particular playstyle. That is something I do want to mention. If you choose to go ahead and just straight jump into the middle of the biggest city you can find and go kill people, that's a perfectly viable thing to do. You're probably not going to last because people kill each other really rapidly doing that. But there is a chance you could. The big thing to keep in mind is that's basically going to be like a weird version of Call of Duty, where you're basically going in and everybody just obliterates everybody right off the bat. Whenever you hit the ground, the first thing you want to find is something like this. You need to find a weapon. Doesn't matter what it is, some form of defensive option that you get yourself. Right now, if I encounter someone, I at least have a slight fighting chance now with this pistol in my hand. Now, ordinarily right now, I'd be as quiet as possible and have my volume turned up and be trying to listen for any tiny noise I could hear. That's something that you need to get used to doing, is listening for audio around you to let you know, hey, there's people nearby that want to shoot me. And I'm not doing a very good job of that right now on purpose because I need to talk to y'all. I need to explain what's going on. And it looks like that's about everything we have in this immediate home. I'm going to go ahead and jump down. Jumping can be a pain. They're adding some vaulting options later, but we're not there yet. This area right here, whenever I unpause, is where we're going to be looking. As you can see, there's a timer, as well as a little flashing dude in a white spot, and then also that wonderful bar. That bar's showing me where the circle is at and my relation to the circle. So as you can see, I'm already in the circle. This circle is where you need to be in order to be safe. Outside of this circle is bad because there's gas or radiation or whatever you want to call it. It's a blue wall of nastiness. Oh, here we are. Better weapon. So that wall, if it hits you, will kill you eventually. Now, as it gets smaller, it hurts more and more and more over time. That is something to keep in mind, that the first circle you might be able to take a little bit of damage and be fine with. The second circle, maybe not as much. The third circle, it starts to hurt pretty bad. About the fourth circle or so, being in that wall for even a few seconds could theoretically kill you. So you'll constantly be having to run in order to avoid getting killed by that. Alright, we need to go ahead and address one of the more common things I hear on the internet. How to aim down sights. Now you'd think that'd be something simple. Most games you click and hold. Well, in this game, if you click and hold, you go to this over-the-shoulder aiming. Yes, as you see, it does shrink where you're aiming at just a little. It's not a huge amount, but it's some. Now, I hear a lot of people saying if you double right-click, you get to this view where you're actually aiming down the proper sights. That is not correct. This is just a single quick click and release. Click and release, you automatically go to this. Click and release, you come back out. If you click and hold while you're in that, you also come back out. So this is a single click and release. That's all you need to do. I've heard plenty of people saying that it's the double click. It's not. While aiming down sight, you can also lean left and right. You can also lean left and right now. As you can see, it doesn't do much difference. But if I'm looking over the shoulder and lean, then it actually shifts cameras. There is no way, as of right now, filming this in June of 2017, there's no way to shift and stay on your left shoulder. You're stuck going back and forth between them. Now, it looks like I'm stuck there. When I let go, it snaps back. See that? That's the closest you get. Alright, let's talk of order of importance for picking things up. When you're picking up items in this game, you need to prioritize what it is you're going to get. You need to evaluate and say to yourself, what do I want when I hit the ground? This is something you need to initially get yourself mentally prepared for. The very first thing you want is you're going to want a weapon. After that, armor is very important. And then below that is a backpack. And then after that, weapons, attachments, things like that. Better gear. You start working your way up from there. It's important to try to prioritize in that order as well. If you see those items in that order, pick them up in that order. Always get guns first initially. Get yourself the ability to defend yourself from anyone that chooses to attack you. One of the other things I did want to go ahead and address is, again, a common misconception. It's something that people don't really seem to understand when it comes to this type of game. You do not want to engage every single person you see if you're trying to get to the end of the game. Yes, you can engage every person you see, and that is your choice, obviously. But there's some times where it may be more prudent to watch someone or follow someone than shoot at them. As an example, if I were to be looking at someone, better backpack, if I were to be looking at someone out here in the field, and I see them hiding behind this tree, and I see them going to the left here, there's a lot of cover for them. I don't want to shoot them when they have options to hide behind cover. Now, if I see them running left, I might be like, you know what? If they're coming on this side of the hill or over here, this would be a good spot to engage someone at. This area right here, because there's no cover. I could shoot them until either I run out of ammo or they die. very easily. Versus in here, this is a mess to shoot someone at. So my better option, if I see someone out there, would be to do something like this. Hide over here, and just kind of evaluate where they're going. Decide if it's going to be worth me trying to shoot at them, or if I'm just going to give away my position, and then they'll know I'm here. Maybe they'll sneak up a different angle, or try to come shoot me in the back. It's all about picking when you do your engagement. Because at the end of the day, you will have to shoot people eventually. It's just, do you really want to do it right off the bat, or do you want to do it when you know you have a chance of winning? That's what you really need to ask yourself. Alright, as you can see, blue line's coming in. When that blue makes contact with the white, it'll shrink the circle, and we'll get a new white circle that we then have to head towards. So let's take a look and see where this is going to go. It does not go to the center. That is a common misconception people have when they first start playing this game. Oh, it'll go to the center. No, probably not. There's a good chance it won't. Alright, well, let's go ahead and move into the next area that I wanted to talk about. That is going to be cover versus concealment. Something that's very important to understand about this game and any game like this. So, looking out here into this field, you can see that there are a couple of different types of areas I could hide. For example, I could attempt to hide behind that bush right there. That would be concealment. That would be hoping that somebody can't tell I'm there because something is obstructing their view. Or I could hide behind this rock, or behind this broken RV husk, or these trees. Those would be cover. That would be something that would actually stop bullets if somebody shoots at me. In this game, it's important to keep in mind where all cover and concealment is at all time. The edge of this mountain range, or hill range in the distance, this could also be cover if I'm able to duck behind it, if I'm able to get low enough where somebody on this side of it wouldn't be able to shoot at me. These are all things to keep in mind whenever you're moving around. This field right here, this huge open field, is just asking to get shot at. If I need to advance to those houses over there, I would probably want to go along this ridge line and then try to head along those trees in the distance. Use the trees as cover points I could move from one to the next. When you get to the end game, this is incredibly important as well. Again, this goes back to what I was talking about engagement. If I see someone over here, it may not be the best time to shoot at them. Wait for them to run into the middle of this field so they have no cover, and if they're lucky, they might be able to find some concealment, but not really. As you can see, the grass stops rendering out there, so if they lay down, I'll just be able to shoot them. Again, this goes back to what I was talking about. These are the steps you need to look at. 1, where's the nearest cover to this player if I go to shoot at them? 2, are they alone if you're not playing solo? So if I'm playing duo, where's their partner? If I'm playing in squad, where are the other 3 people? If they don't have any others, they may legitimately be alone. Point number 3, if I do not kill this person, will they be able to kill me? So if I shoot at someone right now, in the distance, they could theoretically engage me back. Odds are pretty low that they'd know initially where I'm at. The catch-22 is, and this goes back to what I was talking about with cover versus concealment. If someone needs to know where I'm at, all they have to say is, he's in that house, the furthest north one. And if you look at the map, I'm in the furthest north house of this little group. Or, if let's say I'm outside and I hide behind this RV. He's hiding behind the RV. Everyone on their team knows exactly where I'm talking about. With the rocks, he's hiding behind the rock. At least there's 2 different rocks, so that causes a little bit of confusion. What I'd prefer, if at all possible, if they're close enough and I can lay down the grass, he's in the grass in front of you. Where? Well, in front of you in the grass. It's a lot harder to pinpoint, unless they're using the compass headings up above. They could use the compass headings, even then that still causes a little bit of a leeway, because maybe one person's slightly different angle than another person, maybe their compass heading isn't the same. There can be confusion caused still. But all of that comes back to making sure you understand where you're at versus where your enemy's at. And if I were to shoot someone right now, it's been pretty quiet. I don't really know that there's anyone in this immediate area. There could be. If so, they're doing a good job of making sure to not let anyone else know they're around. And that said, it's less likely for me to be heard killing someone if I were to shoot at them right now. Impossible? No, by no means. Areas that are well known for spawning lots and lots of gear, people love to go to. I've been shot more than a few times going up this particular hill, trying to get to this hospital. So there's times that it's not worth it. If I do die, it's no big deal. The purpose of this video is not for me to win, but for me to show you some of the information I have available. Again, though, Start looking at those stats. Look at your weapons. See what weapon is on the ground versus what you have. Compare those. Decide if you would prefer one versus the other. That is one of those things that's largely player preference, though. So let's see if I can find a weapon to compare this current one I have against. Don't even care what it is. Just any weapon I can compare. Smoke grenades can be very handy later in the game. Perfect. Here we are. A car. Which I'm definitely going to be picking up in a moment. So if I want to compare the car to what's currently equipped, as you can see, the fire rate is a lot slower. But look at that power. That's a huge spike in power versus the weapon I currently have. Now, me personally, I've never got along with the shotguns in these games. It's never worked out well for me to get them. I'm currently being hit by the wall, so I need to move. As you can see, oh, here a person. On this side of the wall, I'm no longer taking damage. On the other side, I was, though. All right, so now it says restricting area in 2 minutes. I have 2 minutes to get to this new circle. So I typically just throw myself a little marker nearby, decide what I'm going to do from there. Again, do I want to shoot this person? What will be the benefit? What will be the loss? I am going to go ahead and take the shot, because they have no cover now. See that? And there we are. Oh, wow, that was some physics. And they had a friend. Oh, missed. That's no good. Well, let's see if I can get a little height on them. Figure out where they're at. I believe they may have gone down the hill. Probably trying to avoid me. Which was probably a good idea. They did have a little bit of an ouch that happened there. Again, though, I need to consider what's going on. Right now, I'm losing circle. I am about ready to have a very bad time of this as I try to escape. Because the circle is going to start hurting me right about now. So now I have 2 minutes of running against this to try to get out of here. Which is probably why the other person left. And it was probably smart on their part. That is the #1 way you will die in this game, is the wall. If you're not paying attention to where you're at versus the wall, you're going to die. It's pretty straightforward. I was going to... There's that body. They have things that can keep me from dying for at least a little bit longer, as well as attachments. So that's all good. Now, you may have thought to yourself, why did you stop and loot that person? For this, I need to take their energy drinks. I need to get their ability to heal myself. So I'm going to go ahead and drink both of these energy drinks. That's going to help combat against wall loss. I typically also arrange my weapons in such a way that I have my long range right here and my short range as my secondary. So I know what I'm always going to have whenever I scroll. Now, this brings up another point for healing. This is something else I see people do, where you saw me go into the inventory and stop and do things. That's not necessarily how you want to do things. That can cause problems for you because people could shoot at you while you're doing that. Much easier, press 0, 8, or 9, and you'll start the automatic process of bandaging or healing wounds depending upon which button you're pressing. So I'm going to go ahead and use a first aid kit to get a bunch of health back at once, as you can see. You do have to stop moving in order to do this. And yes, that means I am getting hit by the wall a little bit more, but at least I get a chance to heal before I get caught up too far. So we're going to go ahead and cover some distance. Again, I spent a lot of time collecting stuff so I can explain what to do with this. I do not expect to get very far in this game. You know, I am part of the 22 that are left alive. Didn't expect that. There must have been a heck of a fight at one of the places. In the upper right-hand corner, you can always see the number of people left alive in the game. And on the bottom left, you can see people shooting each other. Now, there's 21 left alive. 20 other players besides me. And there's a good chance there's somebody over here that I put a bullet hole in that's not very happy with me and waiting for me to come over this hill. Now, ideally, what I need is some sort of vehicle as soon as possible. Not necessarily. It's going to be a little bit tight, but I think I'll make it all right. Here we are, Mishmat's Circle. This is what I was wanting to show you earlier. So this is slightly lower, which means this section here is thinner. There's not as much circle right there. So this will take longer to connect than this, because this is going to move fast. That's going to be a fast-moving wall. All right, once I get in, I'm actually going to have to immediately stop and heal again, because I'm, again, going to lose the wall. I'm in. We're going to go ahead and prone out and start healing. I have no med kit. That's right. I pushed the wrong button. Silly me. I thought I'd picked one up. Apparently I didn't. I picked up 2 first aid kits. There we are. So I have my first aid back. We're going to go ahead and start running again. The wall's immediately going to smack me again. Now the good news is I appear to be just a tiny bit faster in the wall at the moment. It's right on my backside. Oh, no, it finally caught up. Not by much, though. Look at that. That makes me sad. Wall's right next to me, and I can't outrun it. I'm actually healing just about the same rate. Oh, no, I was there for a second. So I'm going to immediately clear this and probably have to take a knee so I don't get shot, hopefully. Somebody may see me clearing the hill, though, and immediately shoot at me. Ooh. That nice tower area is still inside, though. People are probably going to be firing from that here shortly. Ah, see, there we go. Uh-oh. That's bad. I always have terrible luck hitting people in vehicles. Oh, that one hit. And that one did not. They had a level 3 helmet. Level 3 helmets will take a lot of damage. The level 3 helmet's not feeling so hot, though, at the moment. So I killed one player, damaged a couple others. But here's my reward for all of this. I got 217 battle points. Alright, now when you do get into the lobby, if you want to come over here, there are weapons typically over here on the tables. You can go ahead and grab those. Start getting some experience with throwing or using them, depending upon what the weapons are. I'm not going to lie, I'm one of those guys that it just annoys me for some reason when people set themselves on fire before we get in the plane. So I always grab that, Molotovs, and then I go and immediately throw them into the sea. Just because I'm that dude. I've had more than a few people curse me out for doing so. There we are. There's that problem solved. Vector Chris, it's a really good gun, except for the fact it always has this 13-round mag that you start with. It's kind of short. Doesn't give you a whole lot of firing capability. But pop my shoot early. I'm going to try to land on top of the building. A lot of these buildings, if you can land on top of them, you're better off because there's better gear on top of the building, or it makes it easier to get in because you just come in through the top and then work your way down. Alright, I'm going to be a little short if I keep up that. There we are, that should do her. And if you're aiming at something like this, just smack straight into it. That's your best bet. Oh yeah, there's a weapon up there already. Hey, look at that. Actually managed to land. So, looks like we've got ourselves an M16 and ammo. So there's that first thing I was talking about. Always get weaponry first. I have a backpack, and I have an auto 12 gauge. Anything else up here? We've got a level 2 backpack and a vest. So already, I'm most of the way geared initially. And already I'm replacing the M16. Actually, no, I lied. I'm going to replace the shotgun. I'm replacing the weapon. Again, making those choices. I'm looking at the damage of this weapon versus the damage of that weapon. Always have to make those decisions. Anytime you remove a weapon, it automatically dumps all of the ammo out. Keep that in mind. Well, this place worked out pretty well. Lots of stuff. I typically close doors behind me just because it causes confusion for people that are trying to follow up behind you. That was the same type of helmet, but I prefer the camo pattern in this one. It blends in with the ground a little more, in my opinion. Again, personal preference sort of thing. We're going to go ahead and look around. Again, there's a sidearm right here. If I have these two weapons, I typically will not grab a sidearm as well. I'm not going to use it. I already have a backup gun. It's one of the primaries. And in my opinion, there's no reason to have a primary backup and a secondary backup. For the simple reason it gives me more things to scroll through if I'm scrolling with the wheel as opposed to pushing the button. So if you look over there above the mini-map, you can see my character is flashing and not connected with that white dot. That means I'm out of circle. By a decent amount, it looks like, actually. I'm here, circle's here. I need to secure transportation. Luckily, there's a little buggy right there, so I already know where I'm going to go once the circle starts moving. I'm going to go hop in that and drive off into the distance. I'm going to do something very dumb on purpose because I need to show you this. One of these doors right here, I'm going to go ahead and use as my point of example. Right now, this door is cover. If someone were to shoot at me, then this would protect me from bullets. That's the way this game works. These doors are bulletproof for taking the initial few bullets. That wouldn't hurt me. That also wouldn't hurt me. Still wouldn't hurt me. Nope, still good. Now that there's a hole in it, if I get shot at from here, you see there's no holes in the wall there? The wall's undamaged. If I shoot here, the floor's undamaged. But unfortunately, these doors do eventually fall apart, and as you can see, now I would take damage through that. As a side note, anyone in this area now hears shooting and has no idea why, because to them it sounds like I'm just shooting randomly for no apparent reason. Maybe it'll make them paranoid and they won't come bother me. Who knows? I doubt it highly. Alright, so now we have our buggy. When you're driving vehicles in this game, you can hold shift. It makes a popping, and you accelerate very rapidly, but at the cost of gasoline. It does not actually make that popping noise for anyone else. You're just as loud like this as you are in this mode. The audio is only for you, the player. It is not for everyone else. When you're driving buggies or other vehicles, you need to keep in mind for bumps in the road or any form of object you could strike that would mess you up. It would damage the vehicle and you potentially. There are plenty of people who die in this game from vehicles getting out of them too quick, moving too quick in them, and hitting something like that. And like if I was on a motorcycle, hit that at the wrong angle, I could go flying. Now, you can just stop once you're inside the circle. I do not recommend it. I recommend you keep going and get to a point decently within the circle. You don't have to be center, but at least somewhat in the middle, just for the simple fact that the closer you are to the center, the easier it is for you to shift if the circle isn't where you're at. So we're going to go ahead and just speed up to get out of here, hopefully quick enough so I don't get bombed. Anytime you see that red circle, that's an area that artillery will drop on. Alright, this is a really wide open area. I don't like this. So we're going to go ahead and just speed up a little. I'm going to just leave my vehicle here in this ditch. You need to come to as close to a stop as you can get away with, because people don't realize, but falling damage in this game is no joke from jumping out of vehicles. You will die very quickly if you jump out of a vehicle too early. Now, this is a good indicator that there's probably not been anybody here, because people almost always pick up painkillers. Odds are pretty low there's somebody in this house now. Now that said, this is one of the points in the game where you need to start making decisions. What am I going to do next? Do I want to continue to advance and look for new areas to go? Or do I want to go ahead and stay here and start camping and wait for someone else to show up or for the circle to shrink? This is your personal preference at this point. Again, using the angles of the camera, I'm checking the room. Looks like we're clear. I hate staircases. They're like the most deadly thing ever. A close second would be doorways. Doorways are not exactly nice either to most people. Alright, while aiming down sight, you can, as you see, it says zeroing distance 100 meters, center of the screen, just above my weapon indicator information. I can push page up and page down and adjust where I'm aiming at for zeroing. What that means is I'm adjusting for bullet drop. Now, while you could theoretically do this, and let's say I want to hit that target out there, which is a good several hundred meters out, I would adjust up or down accordingly. Now, do I really want to do that? Probably not. Here's my reasoning why. If I adjust up or down, and then later I go to engage in another firefight really quickly, that's close quarters, I'm now aiming too high. What's simpler is, oh, well, let's say I want to shoot a target right there. All right, I'll go ahead and aim up just a little bit and let the bullet drop. Adjust your own aim instead of adjusting the zeroing. That's a personal opinion sort of thing. I mean, you can do the other if you prefer. Me personally, I've not found that it leads to a good time when you're up close and you're at the wrong zeroing. Again, it's personal preference. This is a more cautious style that I'm showing you. There's obviously the style of jump into the city and just shoot everything that moves and hope that nobody gets a counter angle to shoot you as well. That's the second most common way to die. The number one way to die, again, that wall. It pushes you into a player or it kills you itself. And then the second most common is because somebody shoots you at an angle you don't even expect to be shot from. And this is a good time to bring up another point. If you hold the Alt key, you see your sight disappears. But I can now pivot without actually moving my body. So I've got good angling for my body. I want to keep aimed at this staircase in case I need to engage someone. But I can also kind of pivot around and look around and see if anyone's coming. Look for people in the distance. Keep an eye out for any potential targets. There's still a lot of people shooting each other off in the distance. Now this is where you're going to finish a lot of your PlayerUnknown games. On your belly. Having to work your way across a field. Hoping that no one has good angle to shoot at you. And hoping that you're hard to see from the angle that you're at. Because if I stand up and run right now, anyone that's looking this way will immediately be able to tell where I'm at. So I try to move from cover to cover, grass to grass. Again, I'm deciding do I want to engage or not when it comes to other people I see. Scanning the horizon, don't see anyone initially. Don't see anyone coming up behind me, that's good. Well, there's somebody directly in front of me, they've decided to engage. I now know there's someone directly in front of me. Alright, that positioning of that vehicle is not facing straight east. There's probably someone over there. Oh, new circle did not treat me kindly. But I'm actually going to wait this one out. I'm going to go a little counter because, unfortunately, I have to cross this road, which means there's a good chance people get a good glance of me for at least a few seconds. Okay, I'm actually not going to sprint because I think I'm alright initially. I'm going to try to use this dark patch as a little bit of micro concealment. We're going to crawl to this grass. Again, I thought I heard someone over here. Still keeping an eye out. Oh, massive latency spike. That's usually a good indicator there's a player nearby that has crappy internet. Alright, there's currently 3 other people left alive besides me. Luckily nobody behind the tree. Alright, we're in the circle. I'm going to stop moving. Oh, no I'm not. I'm going to get into this dark area. There we are. Oh, new circle is not friendly to me again. We're going to just look. Somebody has an M4. Only 2 other players left alive now. Oh, this open road may screw me up. Get off of it, get off of it. Here we are. Again, gotta keep an eye out on your angles. Getting to a really small circle size now. Alright, there's nobody over there, so I'm good there for that tree. Over here is probably where we're going to encounter somebody. Nope, still nobody. Not gonna lie, that made me jump a little. Oh, there he is. There's a person. They're zigzagging. Now, I think the other player's playing cautious like me, hoping that they don't get seen. That person's not going to do so well in that circle, though, that's for sure. They're going to be able to hide behind, they're hiding behind that tree. Now, the good news is I will be able to hopefully determine where the other person that's here besides that guy... Oh, right there. Well, hello, you two. You two shoot each other. I could kill either one of them right now. Uh-oh. Oh, he's hoping somebody's behind that rock. I'm watching for both. Here we are. Now this guy on my left, I'm actually going to have to shoot, I think. Again, see the difference between the two aims? Alright, that one's dead. We're going to go ahead and slide into the new circle. While looking out for the guy that's straight in front. Oh, that's a grenade. Yep, that was a good grenade on his part. I couldn't have stood up quick enough. Second place. I only shot one person, but that's unfortunately sometimes how this game goes. But that does cover all the basics I'd want to cover for this game, as well as some of the end game play. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. I will be more than happy to try to provide some information back if I can. Any other things that you think may be a thing or not a thing in this game, some rumors or speculation, feel free to go ahead and talk about that down below. I'll be more than happy to go ahead and answer some of those questions. But as always, I would like to thank everyone for watching. I am the Brain Damage Gamer. Game on.